A massive rumor is out on Reddit, and it looking like it is somewhat valid here, as Insider Gaming has reported on it. You have Tom Henderson in the comments looking for some more verification. So we will go over that because it's a very cool rumor. It has to do with Call of Duty as well as another major Activision IP that I've been clamoring for a comeback for. And I hope this is true. So we will go over that. We have more games coming to Game Pass in May, of course, and we have 4 games that have been confirmed, and May is already shaping up to be another great month for the service. Marathon got the showcase yesterday, so we finally got our first look at this new PvP extraction shooter from Bungie that is being released everywhere. So we'll take a look at that. Battlefield 6, we have some more information on SDMM, so the skill-based matchmaking, and then we have some Nintendo Switch 2 stuff to go over. But before we get into it, if you enjoy daily gaming news, daily content, and you want to stay updated on everything in gaming with discussions and just informative videos, make sure to hit the subscribe button, as 8 a.m. every day you will be seeing my face. And I see many of you who do watch are not subscribed, so I would appreciate it if you did hit the button. But for now, let's get into the news. So there is a massive rumor here spreading out on Reddit, on the Gaming Leaks and Rumors subreddit, which always has some big stuff in there that does come out. A lot of it is fake, but there's also stuff that does end up coming out that is true. And we have more information, at least from this rumor, on Black Ops 7, which is pretty cool. And then potentially, fingers crossed this is true, because this was kind of just thrown in there at the end of this rumor, a Prototype sequel. If you've never played Prototype with Alex Mercer as the main character, it is a phenomenal game. It is a action superhero game with crazy superpowers. You could think kind of like Crackdown. There's some Crackdown in there. Infamous as well. Kind of reminds me of a mix of those stuff, an open world game. I actually just finished the first one again, and it was a lot of fun. But those games are older, and they absolutely can be improved upon. They haven't aged that great for today's games, so a brand new one would be perfect. But here is the rumor itself. This comes again via the Gaming Leaks and Rumors. Upcoming Call of Duty Black Ops 7 leaks and Prototype sequel. This comes from a user called Bigby here on Reddit, and here's what they say. Recently taken part in a study group for an upcoming Call of Duty. Here's some of the content which I have insight to. The story will be set in 2035 and will be a follow-up to Black Ops 2 story. The story will also involve Woods and Mason and one other character. Can't remember the third named character. That kind of funny that they can't remember a third name character, but it is what it is. Story mode will allow for up to 4-player co-op, which is cool. Story will also include big open world map titled Avalon. That kind of falls right in line to where they are going with their campaigns. If you look at the last 2, they've had semi-open world style of campaigns where you go in there and you take on the mission basically how you want to take it on. They did it way better with Black Ops 6 comparatively to MW3, which kind of looked like it was an afterthought in terms of the campaign, and it almost seemed like they just kind of threw it in there. But they did a very nice job with some of the missions there on Black Ops 6, so I can definitely see that continuing over. Omni movement will return and include wall running. Not surprising that Omni movement will be back. Zombies mode will have the original crew return as multiverse variations. Zombies mode will have a transit remake. It will also be round-based, and Zombies mode will also have a difficulty toggle. They say a wonder vehicle and more story-focused mode as well. The zombie modes will feature the largest round-based map ever created. Multiplayer will feature 32 versus 32 player modes. That's big multiplayer there, which I could definitely see them doing, and that would be a lot of fun. It will feature some remakes of popular maps in 2035 futuristic Japanese style themes, and it did give examples of these maps but can't remember the names. One began with an R. They say the plans for everything to have a progression level system including grenades, kill streaks, and perks. Plans for multiplayer's progression to carry over from Black Ops 6. That's very cool to see, because I don't think this has ever happened before. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but they've never carried multiplayer progression over from one game to the next. And I think there needs to be some sort of evolution here in how Call of Duty goes with their yearly releases in terms of allowing you to continue with your progress from each game to each game. if they're going to keep releasing them on a yearly basis, or if they're not, I would like to see a game come out every couple of years rather than every single year. So that's a nice thing there. Hopefully that is true. Hopefully this isn't just all made up, but I could see that happening. I could see that evolution of trying to keep people engaged from each game to make sure that they just want to continue and go out and buy the next game right away if you can bring over all of your progression from the previous one. Because people, I mean, the game sells top of the list every single year, but there are still lots of people that just play the older year's game and then they don't get the new one every single time it comes out. Then he goes on here to say, happy to verify this. I haven't played Call of Duty in years, but would be interested in this title based on what I saw. And then this is where the shocker comes in. This is where I'm super surprised about this one, that this is a thing, and I really hope this is true. As a part of this, I also saw that another prototype is planned with Alex Mercer returning as the protagonist, and gameplay will involve shape-shifting, transforming into other people to infiltrate areas, and the game will be set in New York, which, I mean, that is prototypes. Of course, the gameplay is going to involve that stuff if you played the previous ones where you can just take the identity of somebody else out there on the street. So very, very cool. I hope that is true. Who knows? Because this basically just sounds like it is the first prototype, but I mean, we will see here. Tom Henderson, as we know from Insider Gaming, usually gets a lot of leaks and rumors as well. It replied to this post saying, I have sent you a DM for verification, sir. For those skeptical, we have reported on a lot of this stuff on Insider Gaming. The last bit has my head spinning though. So it sounds like the Call of Duty stuff is looking like it is true, but he's unsure of prototype, which is kind of my thought here. Is this just thrown in there, or was thrown into this person as more information? But maybe it's not true. Go in here in the comments and people are just going over everything they say. They would tell a study group all this info. This just sounds like a COD fan's wish list to me, though I definitely would love prototype background. They say they wouldn't tell a study group all that info. This response is, most of the info is particularly new or that is already out there, to be honest, at least when it comes to the overall setting of the game and its multiplayer offerings. I can't speak on the validity of the zombie stuff though. So that is true. There has been these rumors before that have been put out there. The prototype thing just kind of does seem thrown in, but fingers crossed this is true. Fingers crossed this isn't just somebody trying to get attention and notoriety by putting out a leak with this information in it. And we will see. I'm sure Insider Gaming or other outlets out there will eventually confirm. This is just usually what happens. Like even with the Titanfall 3 rumor, that was going around for a couple of days, and then you had somebody like Jeff Grubb come out and say that this wasn't true, and I tend to believe Jeff Grubb over the other random rumors that are out there. So I don't think Titanfall 3 is happening. I wonder if this stuff will get more corroboration in the future, in the upcoming week, specifically the prototype thing, but I hope it happens because it's time. I mean, Xbox has an IP out there like prototype that I think would be perfect to be added into the types of games they make. Yes, it's not the most famous superhero in the world. The game wasn't the most popular ever, but they could make a really cool superhero game and add that into their release. I mean, unless they're going to come out again with another Crackdown, which would be cool as well. Not sure if that's going to happen based off of how Crackdown 3 went, but prototype out there, it has a name. People know about it. People have played it and enjoyed it, and they'd like to see a sequel. So to me, bringing that game back, I think would be successful. So I really hope that this is the case. Game Pass has been phenomenal this year. April, great month. May is going to be great as well. And we have 4 games so far that are confirmed. And this is just a short list. And there's going to be more stuff, obviously, that will be announced. Maybe we'll get some more older Call of Duties for May, but who knows? But here are the 4 games that we know about so far. 2 big ones here, at least for me. Revenge of the Savage Planet is coming May 8th, and this is the sequel to Journey to the Savage Planet, which is a really, really good game. A lot of people do love it, and it's cool to see that the sequel is coming here day one into the service. This was announced a while ago, I believe, but we know here that it is May 8th, that it is dropping day one. Then, of course, you have the biggest game of the month, and maybe one of the biggest games of the year. I would not be shocked at all if Doom comes out, it's as amazing as all the other ones and potentially even better, and it gets nominated for Game of the Year. Doom the Dark Ages here, launching on May 15th. There's so much added to this game, like with the shield and the flying around, and it is more of like a tank style of gameplay, which I love, where you're just kind of going through. You're very strong, you're running and gunning, and the movement isn't as emphasized basically as what they said with the previous ones. It is more just about being a tank going through and taking all the enemies, which is super cool. The game looks phenomenal. And even from the previews and everything, everyone said this game is going to be great. So I can't wait to play that one. The next one we have here is 2AT or Tote, however you want to say. It's from Annapurna Interactive, and it is from the creator of Katamari Damacy, which those games are actually fun as heck. I've played them before. You're just rolling a ball around and it gets bigger and bigger. But this one here, they say it is a charming, colorful adventure game from the creator of Katamari Damacy and the Uvula team about a teen navigating life in a small town with their cute dog companion. While their body is stuck in a T pose, they do their best to make the most of it. So this is the gameplay. It will be interesting. You're just like going through and going and having to get through whatever's happening here. Like you're on a unicycle there, going, getting dressed and all stuff. I don't know. Not that interested in this one, but this one here is coming May 20th. It's an interesting title with an interesting concept. Then you have Spray Paint Simulator coming in May 2025, day one as well. We don't know the exact date that one is coming out, but if you played like Power Wash Simulator, which I actually enjoyed, that's probably one that will be that kind of that relaxing, sit back and you're just spraying things type of game, which is kind of fun if you just want something different every once in a while. There's so many of these simulator games out there, but that's 4 games that we know so far that are confirmed from 2 big ones, and I'm sure we will be getting some more big ones as well that are going to be announced. Okay, we got Marathon yesterday, the showcase that Bungie did put out. This is their next big game, a PvP extraction shooter. Bungie is first-party PlayStation. This game needs to do well, especially when they came out with Concord and canceled that in 6 days. They need a multiplayer PvP style game that keeps people coming back for more with like the whole battle pass and everything. And this may be it, simply because it's Bungie and people get very hyped for Bungie. You have the whole Destiny crowd that will eat this one up, I do believe. And they showed it off and it looks fun. Like this game is going to be good in gameplay and feel because Bungie is phenomenal at first-person shooters. You can pretty much bet that. The question is, will people catch on to this game? Because of the statistics that we have seen, that people continuously just play the same games over and over again. And I think it was like 50% of people are still playing games that are 6 years old, you know, the Fortnites and older first-person shooters that they jump into. So getting them into a brand new games as a service multiplayer game is difficult. Marathon is going to try to do that. And from the first gameplay trailer, I think it will be okay. It looks like it is a fun game, something that I will be interested in trying out at the very least. But here is the announcement for Marathon. It arrives on the Xbox Series X and S, the PlayStation 5, and PC on September 23rd, 2025. Now, the most interesting thing here in terms of the release date and everything is the price. We don't know the price of this. It is not free to play. There were things going out saying that it was $70. It is not $70. They're saying they're pricing it at a premium, but it is going to be less than $70. My guess, this is going to be about a $30 or $40 game. So this isn't going to be a free to play game. Some people think this may make it DOA, similar to what happened with Concord. I think there could be a chance that it turns people off, but it is Bungie and they do have that name behind it, which will instantly get people's attention. Concord was from a studio that really nobody cared or knew about, besides people who were really following the industry. But people know Bungie with Halo and with Destiny. One of the things people are talking about is like the creative direction and the art style of it. You can see here they went with like a more colorful, I would say less mature style of art here for this game. Not sure if that's just because something that they want to go with. Maybe they're trying to appeal here to a younger generation and a younger crowd, but this is the art style for it. I don't think it looks bad. There's a lot of people instantly shitting on this game right away simply because you see a lot of that. I mean, the game reveal wasn't the best in the world, but I do think there is a chance that this thing could do okay. You go down here and we see some more reactions to it. Xbox puts it out on theirs. Again, this is a first-party PlayStation game that is landing on Xbox. So when we talk about the whole exclusivity, it's only Xbox putting their games on other platforms. It's not. The industry is absolutely changing. I feel like if PlayStation would have purchased Bungie 10 years ago or 15 years ago or something like that, we would never see these games on another platform. But here is the gameplay itself. I mean, one thing you can be rest assured here is that Bungie is phenomenal at the feel of gunplay with their first person shooters. So the game is going to feel well. But the overall reaction that I've seen online, and I don't know if it's only from a certain part of online, but it's seemingly a lot of comparisons to Concord and negativity and stuff. I just don't think it's going to end up being like that. I think this one will be okay and will have like ACG says here, an uphill battle, but there is much better chance that this thing can succeed. And I think simply because of Bungie. Jez says, not a fan of extraction shooters, so Marathon was never going to resonate with me, but man, I really don't like the art style either. Bungie knows their way around shooters, though. I'm sure it'll do well and find its audience. That's kind of the way I'm thinking about this game more so than anything. I do think Bungie does some good stuff when it comes to FPS, and I think that they will be able to gain an audience for us. I don't think this is going to be conquered. I don't think this thing is going to shut down within 6 days, but the art style is turning people off, and I think the pricing, that one they have to handle well, because that is definitely going to be a huge comparison to Concord if they come out with like a $30 or $40 price tag for a multiplayer extraction shooter with like battle passes. And I'm sure there'll be some microtransactions in there and stuff. That people are going to make that huge comparison. The thing with Concord was I don't believe there were actually microtransactions in there. You're paying that $30 or $40, whatever it was, and you're getting the entirety of the game. So we'll see if they do this here as well with Marathon. But the reality is the comparisons will be made, and it will be an uphill battle. But I do think the game looks okay, and that they can salvage it because simply Bungie makes good first-person shooters. Maybe I'm just too optimistic on this, but that's the way I see it. All right. Battlefield 6, this is going to be another game that comes out that is going to be competing directly with a game like Marathon. The game's coming out in September. Battlefield 6 will be coming out and trying to get Battlefield back on the right track. Well, developers comment on skill-based matchmaking, which is always a hot topic, specifically when it comes to Call of Duty. A lot of people don't like it, and it looks like it's going to be here as well within Battlefield 6. So this is David Serlin, one of the lead producers on Battlefield 6. He took to the closed Battlefield Labs Discord to explain the situation around Battlefield 6 and SBMM. Kind of long, but I will read to you guys for those interested. He says, PSA 2042 has SBMM according to this definition. This is what I tried to detail above yesterday. It has a factor of skill. It's used, but ping and time to game is the top priority. And in a 64-player game, our want is to spawn a server that starts as soon as possible. Thus, the skill factor is negligible in terms of sorting into servers. Also, with a party that is more or less ignored, just to clarify, saying SBMM is bad is not really useful. What you really want to say is heavy SBMM, where skill separation is a priority, is bad. But that doesn't make skill as a factor in matchmaking bad wholesale. On the contrary, we need a skill value to make balanced teams. No matter the ranges of skills total on the server, it wouldn't be fun if all skilled players ended up on the same team, would it? Just to calm this thing down a tad, the fact a skill value is in the matchmaker. It's been there since we started being able to matchmake, by the way. Doesn't mean we are going with a heavy-handed SBMM solution. Quite the opposite. Battlefield is its best when you play the all-out war modes with friends and different types of players. We do not want to limit that. All of this is also true, skill being important for team balancing, regardless of in which way you join the server. For reference, did you feel like the BF Labs playtests were heavy-handed SBMM? No? Then we good. It's the same matchmaker and settings we'll use with tweaks if we find any issues, of course. So basically, I guess just trying to calm people down that it's not going to be insane SBMM, but it is in there for the matchmaking itself. People instantly just say it is bad and everything. I think the reality is they have the stats and the analytics that SBMM keeps people playing longer, simply because you have more casuals that will feel like they are good at the game, which instantly gives you gratification, which wants you to keep playing longer. I mean, you really feel that in Call of Duty. Like, you can jump on, you haven't played Call of Duty in years, and get like 20 or 30 kills in your first match because you're playing with all of the people that are just as bad as you. So that keeps you excited and it makes you feel like you want to continue to play. If you jump on right away and you don't get any kills, as soon as you spawn, you die, things like that, there's a higher chance that people are going to jump off. So that's why they put SBMM in there. Battlefield 6 is going to have it, not heavy-handed, so we'll see. I haven't played it yet. Obviously, I'm not in the labs test or whatever, but I'm hoping that they get this thing right. Vincent Pelda at the helm. I'm pretty optimistic about the future of Battlefield with Battlefield 6. All right, couple more things here to end it off. First of all, Nintendo Switch 2, Mario Kart 8, this game is going to be great. The pricing obviously is always going to be an issue. I wonder if it will affect the sales. I don't think it will, but people are already looking and finding secrets within this game. They say here, well, this is a person who posts this on Twitter saying, I got to play Mario Kart World today and found something cool. And here it is. It's a hovercraft that you can get into as you're driving through the world itself. So this kind of is making me see, when we saw that comments about the game being big and vast, and they support the price of it simply because it is more content, I think, that we're ever going to see in a Mario Kart game, that this is probably one of those examples of it being an open world and more content in there. So cool. So I wonder there'll be more stuff you can discover as you're driving through the world. I'm sure there is. I'm sure there will be more things in there as you're driving through the open world of Mario Kart 8 that was never seen in other Mario Kart games before. And finally, we have a first look here at the Nintendo Switch online user interface, the revamped user interface. I think it looks pretty sleek. I mean, you see all of the different things on the side here where you're going down. It is similar to what it was before, but what I like is the retro stuff here from GameCube all the way to the NES, and how that is listed out, and how you're going to go across and see all of the games that are there for it. And then you can see your profile and everything. So there will be a somewhat of a revamped user interface here for the Switch 2. We don't really know that much about it yet, but this is the first look at it. And I think the current Switch UI is fine. There's nothing really wrong with it, but I would like just a little bit more, something extra, I guess you could say, here with it, because of it being a new console. But I will end the video there, guys. If you did enjoy this video, hit that thumbs up. If you're new here, hit that subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.